This video is sponsored by Anker Solix. If you need portable power at the job site, at the campsite, at the beach, the park, or wherever, or if you'd like to back up the power at your home in case of a power outage, you really have two main choices. You can use a stinky, loud gas generator like this one, or you can use the super quiet and very powerful Anker Solix F3800, which I'm going to be testing in this video. I previously did a video about this product, but I didn't actually have one to test, but now I do. So I have the Anker Solix F3800 and an extension battery, and this is even powerful enough to charge a Tesla Model Y using its 220 volt NEMA 1450 outlet, which has a maximum output of 6,000 watts. By the way, by the time you're watching this, the Anker Solix F3800 has officially launched, and there are some special bundle deals on the Anker Solix website that I will link to down below. So let's go ahead and dive in to this unit. I'm John, and this is Cleaner Watt. Okay, at the job site, you could use a portable generator like this, but you have to carry around gas, which is smelly. Of course, this is loud, and it spews out fumes. That's one option. Or, since this has plenty of power, this has 20 amp circuits for your 120 volt outlets. So this is plenty enough power to power these saws. I can actually run both of these saws at the same time, and I'll demonstrate that. But this also has, by itself, 3.84 kilowatt hours of energy storage, and you can, of course, add the extra battery that I have. I don't have it on there right now. But that can run these saws for quite a long time, and this would be great for like a job site. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that with this device and show you how well that runs these power tools. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the chop saw to this side, the right-hand side of these three outlets, because these are on two separate 20 amp circuits, like that. And then I'm going to plug in the table saw on this one. Okay, got my safety gear. Let me put that on, and then we'll do a test here and demonstrate that this can run both of these saws at the same time. This thing didn't skip a beat. Once again, I was running the table saw and the chop saw at the same time. It was not lagging. It had full power. It did a great job. So this is a great power station that you can easily use on the job site. Let's do that same test with this generator here. I don't know if I can run both saws with this. This is may not be powerful enough, but we'll give it a shot. But let's see if this can run both of those power saws. And in addition, this is gonna be loud and smelly, but let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's get this thing started. Once again, running this, I hate the smell of the gas that I can smell right near it. The fumes that were coming out of it and extra noise. I would much rather have this at the job site. And you could connect solar panels to this and have it charging while you're using it. And you wouldn't have to fill it with gas, etc. But with 3.84 kilowatt hours of energy storage in the single unit itself, plus the extra battery you can stick on top, and you can connect multiple batteries to this, you know, this will have plenty of storage capacity to do a lot of work on the job site. And then once again, you can charge it via solar panels if you have a portable solar panel array that you can carry with you. So I'd much rather use this than a stinky gas generator. And I've proven that both devices can run these saws, but this does it much quieter, without the fumes, and in a much better way, in my opinion. Okay, in addition to working great on a job site, you could also connect this directly to your RV plug and power your RV with plenty of backup power and capacity. In addition, this has an EV charge mode built in, so when activated, you can actually charge an electric vehicle with this. You don't have to do any fancy grounding tricks with this when it comes to charging with it like some devices. You actually just tap this power inverter turn on button here twice, it turns on the inverter, and then here on the screen, it actually shows that we are in EV charging mode, car charging mode. So with that in mind, I'm now going to connect the Tesla mobile charger, and we're going to see how fast we can get this to charge. The Tesla mobile charger comes with this cord here that you can plug in to this, and I can actually plug this directly into my NEMA 1450 outlet, which I'm going to do. I have this in EV charge mode, and we're going to see how many kilowatts we can pull up to that 6,000 watts. Okay, you can see that that is blinking green there, so it is successfully charging. It shows that we're charging at 20 amps. I could take that up just a little bit, and I probably will. Okay, so now I have this at 23 amps, and we're charging at 5,500 plus watts. So that's pretty impressive. So in case of emergency, if you needed to add a little bit of range to your Model Y, the Anker Solix F3800 would do that for you. And with this extension battery, the extension battery has 3.84 kilowatt hours, and the device itself has 3.84 kilowatt hours of capacity. So you could add a little bit of range here, and it could be something that gets you out of an emergency situation. Instead of using the Anker Solix F3800 to charge your EV in an emergency situation, you could use a gas generator like this, but it's spewing out fumes. It's very loud, but it should work. I mean, I'm gonna plug it in here. I don't know if this will need a ground plug put in it or not, but technically speaking, this should work. Let's stick this in here. And it's actually showing an error here. I imagine since this generator is not grounded, you could get a bonded neutral ground plug, and probably get around this. But you could figure out a situation in an emergency situation to charge with a generator, but it's much louder, and of course, it spews out fumes. So during the EV charge test, I was able to show that this device, through the NEMA 1450 plug, could give over 5,500 watts of power continuously. And it should be able to go up to 6,000. I didn't get right up to that 6,000 when I was adjusting the settings in the Model Y to get that to that. But nonetheless, that seems to be accurate, that 6,000 watt max. But when it comes to the maximum power of the 120 volt outlets, that requires a little bit more of an explanation. So the inverter in this unit is rated for a total output of 6,000 watts, up to 6,000 watts. However, if you multiply 120 volts by 20 amps, which of course gives you the wattage output for each of these circuits, that equals 2,400 watts. In the owner's manual, it states, quote, "The AC output ports can deliver a maximum of 6,000 watts to connected devices. Each group of NEMA 520R AC output ports can deliver 2,400 watts of power." The technical name for these outlets are the NEMA 520R outlets. So it says each section. So I believe this is one section and this is one section. So I'm going to test that. But what that means is when it comes to 120 volt output directly through these outlets, that means that we could do a total max of 4,800 watts. That's how I interpret this. 2,400 watts for these three, 2,400 watts for these three. And if you connect, for instance, to the NEMA 1450 outlet, you should be able to get up to 6,000 watts. So that's how this all plays out. Let's test that out and see if my theory is correct, that each of these sections are on a 20 amp circuit. Okay, so I have the heater and the cooktop connected here, but before I do that test, I'm actually going to connect my kilowatt device and make sure that this is running at a clean 60 hertz of power and that there's no voltage sag when I turn on the heater. Okay, here's the kilowatt device. I'm going to go ahead and connect that to that port. So right now it's showing 119.3 volts. So that's good. Let's go ahead and go through the settings here. And it shows 59.9, 60 hertz. So good, clean sine wave there, 60 hertz. And then let's go ahead and plug in a device here. And let's go back to voltage. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn on the heater. You can see that dropped down to around 116 volts momentarily, then went back up. Right now it's running at 118.8 volts. So it's running at a clean 60 hertz and the voltage looks totally fine. Okay, let me go ahead and disconnect the kilowatt device, and then we're going to see if each of these circuits are indeed separate 20 amp circuits that are capable of up to 2,400 watts on each side. Okay, so turn on the heater on high. And right now that's going up. We're over 1500 watts being pulled from the heater. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and turn on this cooktop. And we should be able to get both sides to, somewhere close to that 1800 just with these two. I mean, it looks like 1600 with this as well. But let's see what we're at. Okay, between the two devices, we're at 3,187 watts. Let me go ahead and connect a couple more devices on the various sides there. Okay, so right now I have this air purifier on, this heater set to max, then I have this air purifier on, and that cooktop with both burners turned on, turned to max. And we're pulling 3,235 watts, and I'm going to connect two more devices and see what we can get this up to. Okay, so I grabbed an air compressor here. Let's see if it can run that in addition to the current load. But nonetheless, I was able to pull over 4,400 watts through the 120 volt outlets. And as I explained, I believe my theory is correct here, that each section here, the left-hand section is a 20 amp circuit, the right-hand section is a 20 amp circuit. So 2,400 watt max here, 2,400 watt max there. So between this, you can run around 4,800 watts continuous, and the system should be able to handle that. And it easily handled the 4,400 watts or so that I pulled through this. So I'm very impressed with what I see here. Okay, let's talk about portability. This device is pretty heavy. It weighs a little bit over 132 pounds by itself, and then each extension battery weighs around 72 pounds. So together, that's over 200 pounds. But it's got two really nice big handles here on the top. It's got these lockable caster wheels here, and then it's got two pretty large wheels in the back. In addition to that, it features a pop-up handle right here, and then you can actually set this down flat, and it has little pads here on the back, and then it has a pull-out metal handle on the bottom, so that a two-person lift is really not that difficult. One person can lift it from here, and the other from the metal handle at the bottom. So getting it in and out of a vehicle with two people is completely doable, and it has the right access points to grab it and move it. Okay, let's talk about using this as a home battery backup system. So there are really three ways to use it as a home battery backup system. The first way is just to connect the things that you want to back up with a power cord, and you can plug them directly into the outlets here. The three outlets on the left-hand side, the three 120 volt outlets on the left-hand side do have UPS functionality, so you could have an item connected to this and have this unit connected to the grid, constantly charging and keeping charged up. And if your power gets cut, those three outlets will seamlessly keep that unit running, whatever's connected to those left three outlets. So that's a great functionality that it has built into that. Okay, if you lose power, one of the things you might want to do is run a load of laundry, and with this device you can do that. So I'm going to start off by using my washer here. I'm going to run that through a cycle here and see how much capacity that uses. So let's go ahead and power this up. Just hold down that power button for a few seconds. Okay, that's coming up. I charged this up to 100%, so it's fully charged right now. Okay, I got my washer plug. I'm just going to stick that in one of those sockets right there. Okay, let's go ahead and start this and see how it does. You can see that even with the washer agitating right now, you can see this is actually staying. It can still run for quite a few hours there. It fluctuates a little bit on its estimation based on how much wattage the washer is pulling at this moment. But you could run multiple loads easily with this unit from what I can tell so far. Okay, so the washer has finished its cycle, and it only used 6% of its battery capacity during that cycle, so that's pretty impressive. In the case of a power outage, one of the appliances you would want to make sure still had power would be a freezer or a refrigerator so your food does not go bad. This is a freezer that I have in my garage, and I am going to see how long the power station would be able to power this in the event of a power outage. Okay, so right now the freezer is drawing somewhere between the high 370s, and sometimes it jumps to 380 or slightly above that. And I did leave the freezer door open for a few minutes to make sure that we had it actually running. The compressor was running earlier. It's not running right this second, but you can see it's still pulling a decent amount of power. And at this moment, if it continues to pull this much power, with my extension battery, this will be able to run the freezer for 7.7 hours. But in addition to that, if you have a transfer switch, you could also take a cord and connect this to your transfer switch, and whatever circuits you have connected to that transfer switch, you could back those up, of course, up to 6,000 watts of continuous power. But really, for the ultimate solution, Anker Solix offers a 10-circuit home power panel that allows you, with professional installation, to connect this to that panel and back up critical circuits in your home. So you can have a single unit like this, 3.84 kilowatt hours of energy. You can add extension batteries to this. And if you connect two of these units together and connect as many of these batteries as this can go up to, allows you to have a battery backup system of over 53 kilowatt hours of completely maxed out. And that's really impressive, and that will back up the major circuits in your home for quite a long time. In addition to battery capacity, when you have two of these units connected together, that allows you to take that 6,000 watt power output and double that to 12,000 watts. So that's also really impressive. 12,000 watts of power plus 53 plus kilowatt hours of backup power for your home would be very helpful in a power outage. Now, if you decide to purchase the Anker Solix home panel, this unit can be directly connected to a solar array, and you can store excess energy from the sun from your solar panels into this device. In addition, you can actually tie this directly to the grid through that home power panel, and the grid will keep this charged up, the grid or solar, whatever you have, and then in the event of a power outage, whatever circuits you have connected to that power panel will be backed up. Okay, let's talk about charging this device. This comes with a standard 120 volt plug that you can plug into this to charge it from the grid. And when it comes to grid AC charging, this can accept up to 1,800 watts of power. When I plugged it in earlier and this was at like a 90-some% state of charge, I was able to charge at a rate of over 1,500 watts. And then of course, when this got close to being finished, that dropped down to the 600 watt range. But in general, when this is connected to the grid, this should be able to charge fully in around 2.7 to 3 hours of time. And of course, you can basically double that if you have an extension battery connected to that. That's not too bad. When it comes to charging this via solar, this can accept up to 2,400 watts of solar input to charge that. And if you had 2,400 watts of solar input, you could charge this in roughly 2 hours, or if you had an extra battery connected to it, in roughly 4 hours. The Anker Solix F3800 can also be connected to the Anker phone application with an Apple or Android phone, and that allows you to monitor what's going on with the device and also control various functions and settings with it. It's a really easy to use app, and you can connect to the device via Bluetooth or through a Wi-Fi connection. The little bit that I've used it, I found it that it connects very quickly and it's very intuitive. I liked that I could go in and set things like how long the screen stays on before it times out, etc., and various other modes. But a great device, and this is something that I can definitely recommend to you to definitely check out. In addition, this unit is powered by lithium iron phosphate batteries, and they're rated by Anker Solix to last 3,000 cycles or so. And you might be able to get more than that, but that's what Anker Solix rates them at. So the battery technology in this should last a long time. And this unit is built with industrial grade electric components as well. So it's very well built and it's very capable. It's also important to point out that when I talked about this previously, it was part of a Kickstarter campaign launching the product, but now the product, when you're watching this, is fully launched and available through the Anker Solix website. If you're interested in purchasing this unit, make sure that you click the link in the video description, which I'm going to put there. And Anker Solix is offering some bundle deals with the launch of this product on their website. So you'll definitely want to check that out and take advantage of that. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. Once again, I love this unit. It's a great unit, and I can definitely recommend it to you. Thank you to Anker Solix for sponsoring this video, and also thank you to all of those of you who support me through Patreon as well. Your support makes a big difference and does help make these videos possible. If you'd like to find out more about how you can support my work through Patreon, I will put a link in the video description. Thank you so much.